Hi, good day mga ka-tribu. It's Wednesday once more. And welcome to another episode of Straight Talk where we discuss topics that matter to each of us. I'm Chito Lozada.
And I'm Atty. Montelibano. We are now live at Daily Tribune's Facebook page, Tribune Now in YouTube, and Daily Tribune Official in TikTok. Today we tackle the ICC's, the International Criminal Court's arrest warrant against former President Rodrigo Duterte, a move that traces. I have an issue with it. Serious legal and political questions? I don't know. But
Let's
maybe.
call it the Tuesday drama.
Yeah, the Tuesday drama.
So
I mean, come on.
joining us first is Attorney Calleja,
Political analyst.
a veteran lawyer, and to break down the political implications of this signature.
From he committed crime. He was apprehended. Yeah, that's it. I mean, what's a big fuss?
So without further ado, let's welcome Attorney Howard Calleja.
Welcome to the show, Attorney.
Good morning. Thank you, Chito. Thank you, Teddy, for your invitation. And good morning to all your viewers and listeners. Mabuhay po kayong lahat.
Yes, sir.
You
Thank
too.
you also for making time for us, sir.
So we're
At saka
ready to...
Teddy at Chito, wala ako sa Gulfstream. Nasa kotse ako. Makakalain mo,
Uy.
sumama ako sa
I hope you don't. I hope you're by the curb. Baka mabangga ka.
Hindi naman, I'm seated naman. We have a
Or you have
a
a
driver.
Ayun, okay.
So I can see you now.
Just to be clear, back in 1997, I was a student at The Hague for international.
Yes, I saw. I
law.
was looking. Yeah.
So, medyo
Familiar ka.
natin yung lugar, familiar yung lugar. Although, we have to remember that the ICC is not a UN body. It is a distinct and separate body born by the Rome Statute, by the treaty.
Yes,
It has taken life.
Okay. So let's
One
jump right
question.
into the
Backgrounder. There's a lot of people who really don't know. In a nutshell, Attorney, what is the ICC, the International Criminal Court? You said it's not a UN body. So what is it? It's what who brought it to? Who put it up? Who established it? Oops. Audio, please. Sir. Audio.
Attorney,
Can you get in touch with him, please?
audio.
There's something wrong with your audio. I cannot hear. Ay, tell.
Ayan. Hello.
Yeah, you were muted.
Ayan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
We can hear you
Sorry.
now.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So, yun nga, to be part of the ICC, you have to be to sign the treaty. Yun nga yung sinasabi nating Rome Statute, no? Where previously at 2011, the Philippines was a member state of this treaty. That's why if you look at it, 2011 to 2019 are the crimes or the facts, issues that have been charged against President Duterte. And tingin ko, no, I don't think this would be the last warrant kasi marami pa siyang ibang kasama. So may mga susunod pa sa tingin ko, and I hope na all of them would be put to justice, yung nasa mga EJK na yan. So I think in the next few days or few weeks, baka may mga susunod pa na warrant. And just to be clear, this is crimes against humanity, no? Of course, war crimes is also a part of this, but kumbaga it is a part of it also, part of the allegations here is crimes against humanity. Yun po ang kinaso laban dito kay President Duterte.
Mga 30 plus yung accused. Lahat ba siya?
The police is about 7,000 on record, but the estimates coming from other groups, victims, and human rights groups, etc., other groups, they put up a number which, if you add it up to that 7,000 that the police has a record of, will jack up the number to about 30,000 over a period of from 20 up to 2020 lang.
No, 2011 to 2019. Yun yung
2019.
Yun yung allegation dun sa warrant,
Oh, yeah.
which is the one that yun nga yung riniklamo kay President Duterte. And also yun nga, di ba? Nakakatawa nga nung yung kanyang Davao Death Squad nung no, remember nung nasa Senado siya, sinabi niya lahat ng nasa kanan niya, lahat ng mga police general, pati yung si Senator
In-implicate.
Bato nakaharap niya, sabi niya kasama yan, Davao Death Squad ganyan. So mismo on the mouth of the president, inamin niya that he's part of it and the generals are all part of it as well.
That's why, sir, attorney, that's why I cannot understand. He's the president, and he is not only a president, but he is a lawyer, di ba? He studied
Well,
law and he practiced. Didn't he ever think that nobody? Didn't he think that his words were not being documented by some entity that would come back, in the future would get back at him, which is exactly what happened now.
Yeah, precisely what
He's
happened now,
asking for it.
Teddy.
We don't understand.
And,
He was like,
and I think the transcripts of the Senate would even bear us the truth na siya pa nga nagsabi, bring it
Yeah.
on. Parang ganun pa ang
Yes,
sabi niya.
yeah, he
Diba?
challenged
Anytime,
them.
bring it on.
He
Diba?
challenged
So,
them.
I guess this is it. So let's see. I mean, but
Yeah.
to say nga na it is the kumbaga na-commit na natin yung justice natin. Start pa lang ito, Chito and Teddy, no? If you see the history of the ICC, yung mga previous nahuli
Cases,
nila, yung mga ibang tinatry doon. For example, it takes years for them to try them. Pero one thing is important, umalis na siya. He was taken by plane and I doubt if makakabalik siya in the
After
next few years because he would be tried there and be imprisoned there in the Netherlands.
But sir,
Attorney-
sir, excuse me. But that's only the first step. He was taken away. He was taken away from Manila and flown to The Hague to stand trial. What if he gets? Yeah, so if he's convicted, then what happens? If he's not convicted, what happens? He's a free man.
Yeah, if he's not convicted, then he goes back to the Philippines.
If he's
If he's convicted, any member state that is willing to incarcerate him can bring him to jail. Kasi
Any
yung
member
Netherlands,
state.
yung Hague is only a detention center for those in trial.
So can you
That's not
choose?
a prison.
So can you choose which state? No.
No, a member state, whoever is a member state. For example, one country is a member state, and then they express willingness to take him as a prisoner, he would be incarcerated in their prison.
Unfortunately, he got the Philippines away out. He got the Philippines out
he
of
can't
the
be,
ICC. So
He can't be imprisoned here in the Philippines.
he got we're not a member country.
The Philippines can always return back to the Rome Statute. Can be part of the treaty again.
Okay. Wow.
And if let's say after 5 years, for example, kung kunyari ma-ratify natin yung treaty again in 1 or 2 years, then let's say the trial last maybe 5 years, for example, pwede nyo bumalik
That would be a
dito.
big
dito
problem.
That's
tayo.
exactly what Agnes Calamard was saying, that we should make an effort to get back to the Rome Statute.
Right. How about, attorney, about the 31 other accused? Will all of them be prosecuted?
In like manner.
in
And
the same
apprehended in
manner?
like manner.
Yun nga ang sabi ko, yeah, yun nga ang sabi ko, Chito. That's why important rin yung that's why really important rin yung mga final na kaso dito sa Supreme Court because sa tingin ko mayroon pang mga ibang warrant na padating dun sa ibang mga accused.
Well, one of them,
They might say it is moot against President Duterte, but I'm not being a lawyer to the other accused, but if I were them, I would pursue it because the issue might come up again. And with the vast powers of the judiciary, with its vast powers to let's say study or interpret the Constitution, tingin ko baka pwedeng even if wala na si President Duterte because of the question of law can arise, baka pwede pang tignan ng Supreme Court yung mga issues na dinala yesterday or maybe today kung meron pang mga issues na darating sa Supreme Court.
Yeah, it's
Some people,
unprecedented,
especially in those who are in his camp, in the former president's camp, are saying that why did we surrender him to the ICC when, well, of course, they brought up the fact that we are no longer with ICC, and then they also, they also mentioned this word sovereignty. What is this? What is this all about? I mean,
Let us yung sinasabing hindi tayo kasama na ng ICC at hindi na tayo covered, well, hindi tayo covered 2021 onwards.
But
Okay.
from
20,
19, but from
20,
1917,
2011,
2011,
2011 to 2021, we are
Yeah.
covered.
I
So any
see.
act 2021 onwards, when we left the Rome Statute because of Duterte, kasi siya yung presidente noon, siya yung umalis sa ICC, then hindi na covered. But the acts between 2011
Okay.
and 2021, we are clear on that, and that has already been declared by the Supreme Court in the case of Pangilinan.
Okay.
November 2021, it was decided by the Supreme Court that we are duty bound by our treaty to cooperate
Okay.
and oblige for any acts prior to our
Okay.
leaving the Rome Statute. So klaro yun. I mean, to
Okay.
those that are saying walang jurisdiction, para tayong sumusuko sa mga foreigner, well, that's good drama
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
politics, but it's really, kumbaga, false
Drama for
narrative
the masses.
as far as the law is concerned.
But
Drama
since
for
we
the
are not a
masses.
member of the ICC, do we have the option not to enforce the arrest order?
Yeah.
Well,
Or
put
We
it
are.
this way, Chito, no? The ICC doesn't have a police.
Yeah.
Ang police niya, pinadadaan niya sa
Interpol.
Interpol.
Yeah.
So, yung
Oh,
Interpol, simple lang yan na, Chito. For example, yun nga, bakit natin nahanap si Alice Go? Bakit natin nahanap yung
Yeah.
ibang mga fugitive natin? Because humihingi tayo, nakikikooperate tayo sa Interpol. Imagine, if we don't cooperate and they just tell us our next request, hindi rin ako magko-cooperate sa inyo. Ayaw
Yeah.
nyo kaming tulungan, hindi rin ko kayo tutulungan.
That's
So, ganun
exactly
lang
it.
yun.
Yeah.
And you have to remember, we are in a international community.
Yeah.
We don't live alone. The Philippines is not a standalone country.
Correct.
So, this is Interpol is also part of our international obligation and international cooperation in the Committee of Nations around the world.
I
so
think the president
that
made it
the
clear last
trigger,
night that why
the red
why
notice
he was
was
trying to
triggered.
explain why we had to accommodate Interpol's request. It's because we have a lot of fugitives as well. This is not the only case.
Simple na.
So if we
Meron
refuse
tayong-
to accede to
Yeah.
this request, then that's
We'll have
exactly what you said.
bigger problems.
Then Interpol can very well say, "Oh, we're not going to accommodate you because."
Yeah, why would
Exactly.
why would they help us if we won't help them? Ganun lang kasimple naman yun. Plus,
Yeah.
it's a black eye in the international community na tayo hindi tutulong when everybody does their part.
Yeah, we're not Korea. We're not. We're not.
Yeah, we're not
North
Korea,
Korea
or whatever rogue state. If
I
we
was
don't
about-
cooperate, then we would be considered a rogue state.
I was about to say we're not the U.S. either, but never mind.
So the procedure there, attorney, since Interpol issued a notice, do we need to
We
enforce
call it the red notice.
the red
Ang may
notice.
hinahanap.
Who was the red
I
notice
think
is being
we
issued
are
by
duty bound to
ICC?
enforce
the ICC
the
warrant?
request for the warrant. The warrant came out from the ICC.
That's the
warrant
red
came out from the
notice.
ICC.
Is that the red
Yeah.
notice,
Yeah.
sir?
No,
No,
the red
that's-
notice is the one from the Interpol.
From the Interpol.
Where is it?
Because-
What is it directed to?
Because as I said, the ICC, wala naman siyang police power.
So
Yeah.
he makes a request. So he makes a request
Makes a request to the
Interpol.
Interpol that they need or they're looking for this person na gusto nilang kunin, and then Interpol will coordinate with the local representatives, yung ating
I
PNP,
see.
DOJ, DFA, etc. That's why if you say walang sovereignty, when he was arrested, all the laws of the Philippines was tawag dito
Observed.
was given, was the
Who's complied with?
the rights, the privileges, the rights of the accused was given to President Duterte. So,
The ICC procedure take.
yun nga, sabi ko, tingin ko, yung mga kaso
3 years.
dyan, kung 5 years, swerte na
5
tayo na
years.
matapos yan.
So when
Swerte
he
na, kung 5 years, swerte na.
Swerte na yon.
so when he gets to when he gets to The Hague, what happens?
Mm.
Well, he goes to the detention facility of the ICC, at doon na siya
Straight.
for
Oo.
the entirety of the trial, which was, I would say, would take years.
But we saw that somebody gave us an idea about how the detention center looks like. Nako, parang
Parang hotel.
parang hotel. parang
Maganda
You
yan,
know?
for sure. It's not like our prison.
yeah, my goodness.
30 kayo,
With all the amenities.
etc. And it's very comfortable.
Yes, you
I
even
really.
would,
said,
well, as I said, no, back in 1997, 1998, I was
Ah,
there. Pero at
okay.
that time, walang ICC. Meron yung International Court for the former Yugoslavia, International
Ah,
Trial Court for the former Yugoslavia. Ganon din. But of
ah,
course, that was a UN body. This time, it's not a UN body, but I
ah.
would think that the facilities would be similar, if not better.
yeah. Who was the one, what brought about this ICC? And who are the people behind it?
Before Attorney Calleja answer that,
Well,
we will
Towards the
have
break?
a short break.
I see.
This break is brought to you by Meralco, ang liwanag ng bukas. SM, we've got it all for you. Smart. Live more today. Union Bank. It starts with you.
Usapang OFW is the show that honors the journeys of our modern-day heroes, our OFWs. Join Chingmi Fernandez, John Dodson, and Rafi Ayang every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 p.m. to hear the real stories behind the sacrifices. Watch it live on Daily Tribune's Facebook page, Tribune now on YouTube, and Daily Tribune Official on TikTok.
Want to hear from thought leaders shaping our world? Straight Talk with Chito Lozada and Montelibano dives into leadership, politics, and business every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Catch conversation live on Daily Tribune's Facebook page, Tribune now on YouTube, and Daily Tribune Official on TikTok.
Ready for the hot takes of today's biggest issues? Hot Patatas with Vernon Velasco and Carl Magadia delivers the news that matters. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 3 p.m. Tune in live on Daily Tribune's Facebook page, Tribune now on YouTube, and Daily Tribune Official on TikTok, where the real talk happens.
Utol, once just a colloquial term for a brother or sister, today the same term stands for a better option to your transportation needs. Unified Transport Operations League, or better known as Utol, was established to give you an alternative to ride-hailing, with the concept of availing the service with care and compassion, as if it was rendered by your own sibling. Now, who would you prefer to drive you home? Uto, the ride-hailing app to consider.
Hello,
asking.
mga katribu. So we're back with Attorney Calleja. Ted, you're asking.
Now, we were asking, Tony Calleja, we were asking earlier, before the break, we were asking what brought about the ICC, who the people are, who are the personalities behind it, behind it.
Well, uh, the state parties, not really personalities, but the state parties, those who have signed the Rome Statute,
Statute.
are the ones party to this treaty, no, this convention. And then, just to be clear, meron tayo ditong mga prosecutor, which yun nga, yung nagbigay ng warrant, and there are judges. The judges are appointed, and if you recall, di ba si Miriam wanted to be a judge, or she became a judge? I'm not really sure about
But I
it.
think that,
And then si Pangalanga was also a judge. So we have a good experience with the ICC. Na sabi ko nga, nagkaroon pa nga tayo ng mga judge dito, in Filipino judges.
Oh, yeah, just the one day Pangalangan or something. Oh.
Why does it take too long, like 5 years, kung swerte?
But
Why is the procedure
Kasi,
like that?
Well, just like any case, Chito, no, it takes time. At saka, if you think about it, I'm sure maraming testigo dito. Some witnesses has to be flown to Netherlands, no?
Yeah.
Some of them would take time to go there. But you have to remember, this is not the only case being heard naman by the ICC. As far as I know, there are more than 30 cases filed, and at now there are about parang more than 60 that are detained in The Hague, or then I mean some defendants are also at large, kasi pwede naman silang gumawa ng kaso even if the defendant is at large o hindi pa nila nahuli. Pero pag nahuli na nila, then they will detain them at The Hague.
So we will not be seeing the former president for some time.
Why are you going to miss him?
Why? Bakit, Chito? Do you want to
Miss
see him?
Sorry.
Well,
God,
it's
this.
very,
I'm interested in the trial. I would like to see the proceedings.
yeah. Would it
It would,
be,
it would be nice to see the proceedings.
would it
I'm
be
sure,
made
sabi ko nga,
public?
pwede naman yan. I'm sure they give permission, pero I think you have to, of course, ask permission to the court if you want to go a part of the public. No?
I mean,
Televised? Or
they televise it now.
through
I'm sure.
internet?
I've seen some of them on the I've seen some of them on the online on the internet. So
Okay.
I think yes.
So, okay.
Who's going to shoulder his expenses?
Kasi all the member states, they give may pondo yan, napibigay ng pondo sila.
So may subsidies or something.
So yung pagkain niya, yung tira niya doon, yung hotel niya doon at lahat,
Hotel.
at
Hotel?
whatever expenses, sagot yung ng ICC.
Detention
Wala siyang,
cell.
at least wala siyang gastos doon. Yun ang kanyang gagawin doon.
So what will be the next procedure, attorney? He's brought there and then there would be, it wouldn't be a trial?
He will be tried there. It will start and as I said, he will be tried. But
Immediately?
I
The trial
suspect
is-
marami pang ibang mga akusadong susunod. So baka dahil marami pang ibang akusado, baka siyempre they might wait for the others. But I think trial will start kaagad. No? Hindi katulad yan ng impeachment dito kasi doon mabilis mag-start dito yung forthwith abot ng apuan, 5 buwan. Pero doon, tuloy-tuloy na yan.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Who do you think is going to be the most
Lawyers.
likely will follow?
the lawyers
guess,
will have to
ito
be accredited, isn't it, attorney? The lawyers of Duterte.
He can
He's
have his
given
own
counsel.
counsel.
Yeah.
I mean,
His own counsel.
he can get his Filipino counsels, but I suggest kasi may mga foreign counsels that are really kumbaga bihasa dyan sa ICC rules. So I suggest that you should take one of those. I mean, that would be more prudent of him than take somebody from the Philippines, although he's not barred from getting anybody here.
So the ICC can provide counsel.
If he doesn't have counsel, then yes, just like any other court, yes.
Okay.
Ah.
Delikado.
So,
Pero Andy, Teddy, kung magkaintindihan sila, baka iba salita doon.
Baka magmura sa namura doon.
Teddy, walang Bisaya sa Netherlands.
attorney, sa dami ng mga witnesses and families of yung mga alleged killings, parang kung isa-isay mo yon, talagang matagal yung na process.
Precisely, Chito. That's also what I'm saying, na matagal na yung process because also of the length and then the travel. And plus, as I said, some witnesses are here. You might have to fly them. Some might not be available. So, depende yan. So, isipin mo, kung lahat ng 7,000 or 30,000 magbigay ng witness, di ang dami nun. Yung pa lang, hindi na siya makakalabas. But of course, I think hindi ka naman, you don't need so much witnesses naman for that. So, I think also the court will limit the witnesses. But again, this is such a big case. So, I think 20, 30 witnesses would be small for this case.
Can a intervention from a local court be entertained by the ICC?
What do you
Like a
mean?
TRO?
Well, hindi na po yan, Chito. No? Yun na nga. Once he left the jurisdiction of the Philippine courts, wala na po yan. Pero that's why I'm saying, yung mga final dito na kaso o yung ipa-file dito na kaso, although wala na si President Duterte, of course, with the expanded jurisdiction of the judiciary, the Supreme Court on its own discretion may decide to take it or may decide just to dismiss it. Depende po sa kanila yan.
There was an attempt to get to secure a TRO from the Supreme Court yesterday, no?
There was
That's precisely what I'm saying, Teddy. No? Siyempre, it's moot because you're preventing the president from leaving or from the government from imposing it against the president. Wala na siya. So, that is already moot. But as I said, with the expanded jurisdiction of the court, of the Supreme Court, well, it may, on a question of law, decide to continue it. But if you ask me, magantay na lang yung court for another case to be filed. But
Yeah.
since it's moot, tama na yon.
Yeah, that's why
Okay, attorney, we'll let you go. So, do you have any final words?
Well, ang sa akin lang, I guess I just ask our people to be more conscientious and study really what people are saying because, this is a legal procedure. So let's leave it up to the legal processes and be calm and composed and hopefully truth will prevail and justice for the EJK victims will eventually come for them.
okay,
Okay.
thank you.
So,
Okay,
there we have it
Antonio.
from Attorney Calleja.
Yeah, very nice, very good. Thank you.
We're having a short break, and afterwards we'll have Attorney
Another lawyer.
Edward Chico.
Yeah,
Another
another
lawyer.
legal
One of our
source.
columnists.
Very
Yeah.
good. Yeah, I'd like to.
And this break is brought to you by Meralco, ang liwanag ng bukas. SM, we've got it all for you. Smart. Live more today. Union Bank. It starts with you.
Usapang OFW is the show that honors the journeys of our modern-day heroes, our OFWs. Join Chingby Fernandez, John Dodson, and Rafi Ayang every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 p.m. to hear the real stories behind the sacrifices. Watch it live on Daily Tribune's Facebook page, Tribune now on YouTube, and Daily Tribune Official on TikTok.
Want to hear from thought leaders shaping our world? Straight Talk with Chito Lozada and Montelibano dives into leadership, politics, and business every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Catch conversation live on Daily Tribune's Facebook page, Tribune now on YouTube, and Daily Tribune Official on TikTok.
Ready for the hot takes on today's biggest issues? Hot Patatas with Vernon Velasco and Carl Magadia delivers the news that matters. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 3 p.m. Tune in live on Daily Tribune's Facebook page, Tribune now on YouTube, and Daily Tribune Official on TikTok, where the real talk happens.
Utol, once just a colloquial term for a brother or sister. Today, the same term stands for a better option to your transportation needs. Unified Transport Operations League, or better known as UTOL, was established to give you an alternative to ride-hailing, with the concept of availing the service with care and compassion, as if it was rendered by your own sibling.
Utol ka ba? Dito ka na. Utol ka, iingatan kita.
Now, who would you prefer to drive you home?
Utol ako, mangangalaga sa'yo.
UTOL, the ride-hailing app to consider.
So, we're back.
Okay, we're back. We would like to introduce our next guest,
Yeah.
Attorney Edward Chico, political analyst and a stand-up comedian. Very interesting.
Wow, mix.
Very interesting mix. Attorney Chico will provide expert insights on the ICC's jurisdiction and what comes next.
What comes next?
For our former president Rodrigo Duterte, who is now enjoying maybe a very good breakfast in either in Dubai
Are they
or
there
already in Europe.
I don't
Yeah, he
know.
was already in Dubai.
He's in Dubai.
He was in Dubai. Yeah, and then it takes another about 7 hours. 7 hours and a
reach,
half flight from Dubai to the Netherlands.
Netherlands. Attorney Chico, good morning. Are you there?
Good morning po at magandang umaga din po sa inyo po mga taga-panood at mga nakikinig na rin.
Okay.
So, attorney, we just want to know about
What's your take on this?
What's your take on this? What happened yesterday?
Well, syempre, from a political standpoint, this is quite expected kasi nabuwag naman talaga yung unity and I could actually expect these things to happen. So there's really nothing new. From the very get-go, you know that this is where kumbaga, the road would lead into. And that is something which, of course, wouldn't surprise anyone, because there had been preparatory issues that were raised prior to this big one. So it's not really surprising. But from a legal standpoint, it's quite intriguing because this is one case which is not actually considered a textbook case. Because if it's a textbook case, it's easy to basically, kumbaga, basically decide whether what the president has done is legal or not. Because if, for example, we're a member state of the ICC, then there would
Okay.
not be any problem. So definitely, if the ICC would issue a warrant of arrest, the next thing that the president should do is actually cooperate pursuant to the Rome Statute.
Yeah.
But what makes our case interesting is that on the one hand, we've already withdrawn from our membership since 2019. But despite that, and something, by the way, which is acknowledged by the ICC itself, but what makes it interesting is that according to the ICC, with respect to pending investigations prior to withdrawal, the ICC can still take or exercise jurisdiction over the same. And if I remember, there was a petition that was filed in court. Yung kaso is Cayetano versus Pimentel or Pimentel versus Cayetano, where the court basically dismissed the petition to declare as unconstitutional the unilateral withdrawal done by President Duterte. The reason being is that it's more than academic because even the ICC has already recognized the same. And
Okay.
secondly, they do not have any legal standing to so file the case. However, by way of obiter, the Supreme Court said that although we
Yeah.
can no longer question the withdrawal of the government from the ICC with respect to pending investigations or cases that transpired between 2011, the time the Senate, the government ratified the Rome Statute, and in 2019, the time when we actually withdrew from the ICC, sabi ng Supreme Court, the Philippines still has residual obligation, both domestic and international, to cooperate with the ICC. So this is one case where the president has the luxury of deciding either to cooperate with the ICC
Or not.
or refuse cooperation. And in both cases, he may actually be able to provide sound legal basis to support either of those. So napakaganda ng sitwasyon niya. Nobody can actually claim that what is done is illegal. On the one hand, if he decides to cooperate, which is basically what he did, he can just basically cite the position of the ICC and the opinion expressed by the Supreme Court in the case of Pimentel versus Cayetano. But on the other hand, if the president wouldn't want to refuse, he could simply say, we do not want to surrender our sovereignty. Our legal system is sufficient to hold Duterte criminally liable. And in fact, right now, if cases would have to be filed against him, there would not be any problem because he's no longer in control. He's not the president anymore. A lot of people kasi don't realize this. The ICC kasi was established precisely to address situations where certain individuals cannot be criminally liable in their respective
Jurisdiction.
countries, precisely because they will so much influence justice could not actually be served. But in this case, Duterte is no longer the president. So anytime, of course, cases can be filed against him. And aside from that, Bongbong Marcos can actually conveniently say, you've already withdrawn from the ICC. And more importantly, the Supreme Court's judgment that we're still obligated is simply by way of obiter and therefore not binding.
When you say obiter in a legal term, what would that be in a layman's term? Obiter.
Okay. Ganito po kasi yan, no? If you file a case in court, if the issue is resolved, ang tawag dyan ratio. Yung ratio, yan po yung nagiging doktrina. Pag sinabing naging doktrina, it sets precedent. Ibig sabihin, for future cases, having similar facts,
The president, yeah.
the decision obtained in the past would more or less be the same. Because that ratio is determined by the issue that was actually raised, the conduct justiciable controversy that was raised in court. In the case of Pimentel versus Cayetano, the issue was actually whether or not the unilateral withdrawal done by the executive department is valid or constitutional.
Okay.
So any decision regarding to that is ratio and therefore binding.
All right.
However, in the course of deciding a case, the Supreme Court may sometimes give side opinions. Now, these side opinions at best are persuasive, but are not necessarily binding and they do not set precedent. For example, in this case, hindi ba hindi naman issue yung whether or not the Philippines is still bound or obligated to cooperate with the ICC with respect to investigations done prior to withdrawal.
Yeah, okay.
But the Supreme Court said, by the way, we're still obligated. So the thing is, it's not binding. So if you file a case in court now questioning whether or not the Philippines is actually obligated to cooperate with the ICC concerning these prior investigations done before withdrawal, it does not necessarily follow that the Supreme Court would adhere to the auditor or to the opinion made. Because as I said, it's not controlling, it's not binding.
It's
So
not
everything's
binding.
still up in the air if there's a justiciable controversy.
So it would be justiciable if becomes an issue that the Supreme Court can tackle. Attorney.
Kaya ibig sabihin na justiciable controversy, there's still an actual case. In fact, during the time of Pimentel versus Cayetano, the Supreme Court could not actually rule on whether or not we're still obligated to cooperate with the ICC, precisely because there was no issue yet. Something that's actually real, something that basically affects the interests of certain parties. Which is right now, we have, di ba? Because the arrest of President Duterte calls into question the propriety of the cooperation that was actually extended by the President on behalf of the ICC.
Tony, how do you see this playing out in the campaigns prior to the elections? How did it affect the
Do you think that the campaign of Sara Duterte would be bolstered? Would be bolstered by this happening? His her father?
Alam mo na merong interesting study sa UP Napag-alaman nila na ang mga Pilipino pala reactionaryo. So for the most part, tayo mga Filipino, we really do not have any deep-seated understanding of issues. So we are motivated by anything that can actually trigger us. And once triggered, we can actually shift preference. We can actually go out and even be violent if need be, So reactionaryo ang Filipino. So everything now would have to depend on how the president would handle this. Yung fact na reactionary tayo, may mga pag-aaral dyan na we cannot contest that. But in fairness kasi to BBM, hindi siya masyado, his persona, medyo mild-mannered siya. He's soft-spoken. So pag nagsasalita siya, hindi masyado nakaka-trigger Because if I think kung presidente ngayon si Duterte, and si BBM yung
dinala sa
hand over sa ICC, it would have been different. Medyo kaguluhan yan, medyo magulo yan, di ba? And in fact, that's also one of the reasons why I think the former president finds himself in trouble right now because the fact that he has no filters, the fact that he speaks his mind, the fact that he can lambaste anyone, anywhere, and anytime he wants to, basically would explain why he's in this mess now Because if you remember, di ba, after the elections, because there's this unity pa, if I'm not mistaken, the president on several occasions during interviews, categorically stated that he would not actually cooperate with the ICC, that the ICC no longer has any jurisdiction, and that we've actually withdrawn from the Rome Statute. And I think, if hindi ko naman sinasabi, nakakayaman pero kung medyo hindi masyadong madaldal siguro si Pangulong Duterte throwing allegations left and right one after the other. So this would not have his fate. Let's face it siya din ang may kasalanan yan he was already up office. He could have chosen to remain quiet, but he did not do that. So definitely that would be a problem.
He relishes
sink ships.
He's amused. He loves his personality, di ba? Parang being loquacious and all that. So he even asked. Even there,
would that be an evidence that can be held against him?
That what he said were in jest.
Yeah.
Who would know? Who would determine that it was in jest?
I mean, sorry, medyo, ano po sabi niyo?
I mean, could in his defense, could you say, no, but when I said kill, I just meant it as a joke.
As a joke.
I mean, would that
Would that be an
Okay.
Would that be
evidence against
effective
him?
defense? Would that effectively, would that be an
Well,
effective,
honestly, that,
can you use that as a
well,
defense?
honestly, that could be a valid defense. Yes, yeah. Honestly, that could be a valid defense, something that he can actually entertain positing. Because you have to understand that it was not actually he who perpetrated these extrajudicial killings. It was
Yeah.
under his instruction. So he could just simply say that the instruction is for them to respect human rights and for them just to defend themselves if, for example, the person would resist an arrest violently. But I
Resist.
never actually
Oo.
said that they resort to violent means and blatantly disrespect human rights.
But
That
the
was not my instruction, knowing me, given my personal, I just cover my mouth. But I did not actually give any policy statements concerning that. I did not even give categorical instructions. Eh, kilala niyo naman ako, I'm a very fun, energetic guy who loves to blabber his mouth.
but the
So that
problem,
was
Kaya
possibly
stop
a
his
defense
mouth.
that they could.
the problem was that even human rights said, anong human rights yan? So, I don't know. What a character. My
Hindi,
goodness.
pero alam mo, kaya importante dito yung mga witnesses. Remember
Yeah.
during the Quadcom hearings, nag-present sila ng mga supposed people behind the scenes who basically knew what actually transpired. Yung mga kasama niya dating police, yung mga kasama niya dating allegedly kasama ng kanyang Davao Death Squad. Because unless you present them, it would actually be very difficult, number one, to make a connection between the actual extrajudicial killings and the responsibility of the president concerning those. Kasi the president could simply say, sila yung sumobra, hindi ako. The instruction is clear. Kaya nga at the end of the day, unless those witnesses can be presented, there might not actually be a strong case against the president. Take note hindi ho lahat ng nadedemanda sa ICC automatic guilty.
Guilty.
Marami ho
Of
dyan
course,
na-acquit din. Which is why it's important for anyone who would cooperate in the prosecution of this case to present the vital witnesses who have personal knowledge about what actually transpired relative to these issues on EG case.
Yeah, sure.
By the way, Attorney Calleja, our previous guest, wanted to say hi to you. Kaibigan daw kayo ni Attorney Calleja. Anyway, Attorney Calleja said that kung siswertihin raw, 5 years. Ang
If you take long,
yung
that's-
yung length,
isn't that a little bit too long?
yung length
The length
ng
of time for the trial?
Well, actually, no, sabi niya, mga 5 taon na abutin yung kaso. Tama po
Sus.
ba?
Yes,
Grabe
yes.
Yung pagdinig?
Pag swerte raw.
Uy,
Pag sinwerte.
it's a little long, ha?
Well, actually, no, pag tinignan yung experience ng ICC, it could be as early as 1 or 2 years or as long as 8 years.
Wow,
Kasi
8
depende
years.
yan kung gaano yung ebidensya, yung presentation. Depende rin kung gaano kasi yung defense. Eh baka mamaya yung prosecution maraming witnesses, hindi magtatagal. Baka mamaya yung defense marami ring witnesses, hindi magtatagal. It can even go up to 10 years.
Uy,
If necessary, So everything would have to depend now on the pieces of evidence that would be presented and the quality of the witnesses that would actually be offered in court. And at the end of the day, medyo kawawa din talaga dito si Pangulong Duterte because he's pushing 80. Eh, bihira lang naman yung kagaya ni Senator Enrile na immortal. So I'm not really so sure kung aabutan niya pa yan, di ba? So there's a possibility he might not actually be able to finish the case.
All the while, nandun siya. During the duration of the trial.
this will it be?
Oo, during the
Term yung
duration
bakasyon
of
siya.
the trial.
He has to
kasi
be in
ganyan
the
yung
Netherlands.
Yeah.
Wow.
My goodness.
Oh,
8
kapag ka
years.
may kaso, put it off. And I think, sa kaso ni BBM, malaking bagay din talaga for political purpose kung ando doon siya. Kasi bihira na yung mga statements na nanggagaling sa kanya na kakagahan ng media. Di ba, yung mga papatulan. Because if he were here, it would be very, very difficult to contain him. He would always be very smart and definitely would even hurl invectives and make accusations one after the other. So I think on the part of BBM, malaking bagay yun na nailipat na siya doon
something
sa
in his favor.
nalipat na sa Hig, oo.
So, Attorney Calleja, do you have any last words regarding the what
Attorney
happened
Chico.
yesterday? Attorney Chico, do you have your final say
Siguro,
on
no?
this?
Siguro dalawang bagay lang. Una sa lahat, wag po tayo masyadong magpapapatul dito sa politika. Hindi ko tama nag-unfriended kayo sa isa't isa dahil magkaibigan kayo. Yung mga politiko, magkakapi ngayon, pwede magkakapi bukas yan, pwede magkalaban ulit.
That's true.
Pangalawa,
Yes.
sa totoo lamang ang maganda maging buhay natin, hindi ba? Hindi naman kagaya ng, hindi ba lahat ng Pilipino magiging kagaya ni Enrile? Na kahit yung Panginoon siguro nagsawa ng kunin yung buhay niya, di ba? So at the end of the day, let us live our lives the way we should. Maging masaya lang pagkakaroon ng pakialam sa mga pangyayari sa ating bansa. Maraming salamat po.
Great. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Attorney. Thank you for your time and your thoughts.
He's a fun
And your
person to
views.
talk.
Salamat.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you, Attorney. So that's it. We
Some very
discussed
interesting discussions with
regarding
two-
the ICC.
with two brilliant lawyers.
At least we had a clearer perspective
Yes.
of what happened yesterday.
So okay.
That's all the time we have for today's episode, mga katribu. We'd like to thank our guests, Attorney Edward Chico and Attorney Howard Calleja, for sharing their expertise with us.
And thank you to all of you for joining us. If you missed any part of today's show, you can catch the replay on Daily Tribune's Facebook page and Tribune Now on YouTube.
So be sure to catch At Patatas later at 3 p.m. with Vernon Velasco and Carl Magadia. And Usapang OFW tomorrow at 3 p.m. with hosts Chingby Fernandez, John Dodson, and Rafi Ayeng.
Also, don't forget to stay updated with the latest news and Tribune News on Q every 9:30 a.m., 1 p.m., and 4:30 p.m. We will see you again next time for another episode of Straight Talk. This has been Teddy Montelibano.
And I'm Chito Lozada. Stay safe, stay informed, and have a great day ahead.
Okay.
This public service announcement is brought to you by Meralco.
Alam nyo ba kung saan napupunta ang binabayad nyo sa Meralco? Dito sa series na ito, isa-isahin natin yan para maipaliwanag ko po sa inyong lahat. Ako po si Joe Saldariaga ng Meralco Corporate Communication Office. Alam nyo ba na pag nagbabayad kayo ng bill sa kuryente, nasa mga 20% lang on the average ang napupunta sa Meralco? Sa katotohanan, nahahati sa iba't ibang components ang inyong electricity bill. Kumbaga parang pizza lang yan. Kasama sa binabayaran natin ay ang generation charge na napupunta sa generation companies o mga nag-ooperate ng power plants, transmission charge na napupunta sa System Grid Operator ng Pilipinas, na National Grid Corporation of the Philippines, at iba-ibang charges na napupunta sa gobyerno. Tulad po ito ng mga subsidies, taxes, universal charges at fit-all. Kung tutuusin, tulad nga nabanggit ko, nasa around 20% on the average ang kabuang bill ang binabayad sa Meralco sa pamamagitan ng distribution charge. Ito na ang pinaka-epektibong sistema para sa electricity consumer. Iwas abala ito para hindi na isa-isahin pang bayaran ng iba't ibang kumpanya na dinadaanan ng kuryente. Naway, nabigyan linaw ko po kayo kahit papano sa inyong mga katunungan ukol sa inyong electricity bill. Hanggang sa muli, ako po si Manong Joe, ang inyong lingkod.